Good morning, good morning. It is Thursday, the 6th of March 2025. My name is Graham Hughes. You are watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. We've got Russell Cannon in there. We've got David Lilly. We've got A Girl's No One. Oh, that's from Game of Thrones. We've got Leanne Scott. We've got Martin Harrow, Jeff True, Tripod 9000. Yes, I am dressed up for for World Book Day. I've come as myself. Listen, so we're going to crack on in a moment. But before we do, if you would like to join our friends in the chat here, all you need to do is hit that subscribe button, and you'll be able to make your feelings known, actually live on screen. But don't be a troll, or I will mute you and boot you. Okay, so we're going to get on with it today. Wow, well. I knew this day was coming. I honestly didn't expect it to happen this fast. But the Trump-Putin loving has reached a crescendo, and 4 people are dead as a result, killed in a hotel in Zelensky's hometown. Trump and Putin are no longer just allies, they're collaborators. This is open treason. This is the so-called leader of the free world now actively working with the Russians to destroy democracy and to crush Europe. Yesterday, America cut off intelligence to Ukraine. Intelligence that stops the Russian missiles that are raining down on Ukrainian cities every night from actually killing people. And the Americans took that intelligence away. We talk about whether we can rely on American aid, American this, American that. No, we can't rely on American anything. I'm going to keep broadcasting here on YouTube until I'm kicked off this platform and we have to find somewhere else to talk. Because this is an American-owned platform and we can't fucking trust them. We cannot trust the leaders and the oligarchs and the billionaires of that country because they are now traitors to us. They're traitors to democracy. They're traitors to everything that America is supposed to stand for. Ukraine is now pretty much blind to Russian attacks. These are the real life consequences. Real life consequences to Trump's actions. 4 people, 4 Ukrainians, 4 innocent Ukrainians are now dead. Trump might as well have just blown them up himself, stabbed them, shot them himself. The man has blood on his hands, and so does every fucker who supported him. Every fucker who voted for him. Every sad, little, pathetic, gammony, incel motherfucker who's sitting there going, I love Trump. He says the things that I want to say. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And then when we say, you're betraying everything your country stood for, they say, Niet. And you know where their true allegiance lies. Moscow. Or as they adoringly call it, Moscow. Because they can't fucking speak right. They say, I could care less, when they mean I couldn't care less. They say aluminum. They say Van Gogh, for fuck's sake. I mean, duh. Fuck them. Will we see in the next few months American troops fighting alongside Russia's mercenaries and professional rapists? Yes. Yes, I think we will. I think that'll actually happen. I can see it happening. Europe is having an emergency summit again this week. The EU are having an emergency summit. Macron has floated nuclear defense, spreading it out across other countries, a nuclear umbrella. He's already in talks with the soon-to-be Chancellor of Germany, Metz, to talk about this. And, Starmer is standing firm. Can Europe stand alone? That's not the question we need to ask. Because we have to. Do you know what I mean? There's no question of this. Of course we do. We have to disentangle ourselves very, very rapidly from the crumbling empire that is Donald Trump's America. Very, very quickly. And don't worry, we will be able to get people on board. Because you know who hates fucking Trump just as much as I do? The Mexicans, the Canadians, the Japanese, the Chinese, every other country in Europe, apart from maybe Hungary. And they can fuck off. Yeah, they should be kicked out of the EU, and we should take their place. We should take their seat at the EU negotiating table. NATO is going to have to morph into something new without America, but perhaps with Japan, Australia, New Zealand. And then we've got the fact that this is the most dangerous moment for the West since World War II. I can't stress that enough. Like, you think that the nuclear standoff between the USSR and the US was bad, right? In the 1950s and 60s, right? The height of the Cold War. You think that was bad? The Bay of Pigs invasion, terrible. Didn't work. The nuclear standoff outside Cuba, you think that was bad? Yeah? Well, imagine if back then the leaders of Russia and the leaders of the US were working together. That's what we got right now. They're working together to destroy European democracy, destroy everything we know and love. They need to be stopped. They need to be fucking stopped. They will be stopped. You can't suppress the human spirit. As James once sang, if I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. The dickheads who grew up in Russia, who have never left Russia because Putin won't let them. I'm not talking about the wealthy. I'm talking about everybody else. The 99% of the population of Russia who have never left Russia. They've never done anything else but tyranny and autocracy and ratting on your neighbours. And queuing up for fucking mouldy bread, maggoty fucking meat, and a potato. The people of North Korea have never known anything but North Korea. You can try dropping leaflets on them. You can try throwing SIM cards out your window as you go past in a helicopter. But the reality is the vast majority of North Koreans have never known anything different. We've known democracy. We've known freedom of speech. We've known what it's like to be able to fall in love with and marry the person that you would like to fall in love and marry. As long as they want to, marry you and love you as well. Obviously that's got to be the case. But that's all going to be taken away if these oligarchs have their way. It's all going to be taken away. And so, yes, we need to fight back. We absolutely need to fight back. And I know it's really fucking shit. I know that we need to be propping up public services right now. We need to be helping children who are dying in Africa and across Asia because of famine, because of warfare, because of civil unrest. And that medicine and that food that they need to stay alive isn't going to get to them because we need to channel the money we've got into this bullshit. Trump, I predicted before he got in, he would kill millions. He's making some good inroads into that prediction. He's going to kill millions of his own people. Never mind others. He's kind of like a weird mix of Mussolini and Stalin. He wants to pretend that he's all fucking I am the big I am, like Mussolini. That high school jock mentality. Oh, I'll never do anything wrong. Everything falls into place for me. I'm the high school jock. Daddy's very rich. He bought me a Ferrari on my 17th birthday. You know the type. But also he's got that Stalinist, just absolute petty rage about anything, anyone he feels crosses him. He will kill them. He will murder them. He'll murder them in their sleep. Doesn't give a fuck. Just like Putin. Doesn't give a fuck. Opposition MPs, fucking murders them. And the thing is, these knobheads who support this, like the Nigel Farages of the world, they don't seem to realise that they may not be in charge in those circumstances. And even if they are, they won't be in charge forever. There will be a point where they will be the opposition. And do you know what happens to opposition politicians, Nigel, in countries like Russia, the Russia that you love, the Russia that you would admire so much, the Putin that you admire so much? Do you know what they do to people like you, Nigel? An opposition MP, which is what you are at the moment. They put you in a fucking jail cell inside fucking Beria and they poison you to death. You twat. These people go, oh, it's fine, I'm rich. I'll be all right, I'm rich. Yeah, that's what the oligarchs that Putin had murdered in the early 2000s so he could steal all their wealth. That's what they thought. They thought, that's all right, I'm rich. No one's going to touch me, I'm rich. The Jews in 1930s Germany thought, it's okay, I've got loads of money. They come to my door. I just say, hey, I've got loads of money. Here's some money. Don't kill me. They just fucking stole the money. They stole the riches. They stole the artwork. And they fucking killed the people who own them. Because that's what fascists do. Trump has now 100%, and we can't even argue against this, he has fully aligned the USA with Russia. It is fully aligned. Politically, socially, militarily, it is now aligned with the goals of Russia. What are the goals of Russia? To intimidate, to destroy democracy, to destroy the West, to destroy Europe, to destroy the EU. That's what he wants to do. Read the book by Alexander Dugin, The Foundations of Geopolitics, written in 1997. Fucking hell, 28 years ago. It was written 28 years, more than a quarter of a century ago. You can fucking read it. There are translations into English. Talks about all this stuff. All this stuff. From getting a minnow like Russia back on its feet by destroying everybody else. Like someone who just can't go to a party and have a good time. They have to destroy, they have to disrupt, they have to ruin the party for everyone else. Because they don't know how to have a good time. Katrina Tam, thank you very much for the super chat there. As Jeff True mentioned earlier in the stream, Nebula is a good and ethical alternative to YouTube if they ever stop broadcasting here. Yeah, I've looked at Nebula, but it's American too. So, I don't know. How ethical is it? Can anything coming out of America now be truly ethical? Like, is anything coming out of Israel truly ethical? I don't think so. And although I strenuously disagree with what is happening in Gaza right now, I don't see Israel actively campaigning to destroy Europe. Maybe they are. Maybe they are in secret in the back deals that he's having, that Netanyahu, the criminal, that's having with Donald Trump, the criminal, and Vladimir Putin, the criminal. Maybe the three criminals are all getting together and discussing how they're going to destroy Europe together. But fuck me. If you think that the rich people who think that they're going to survive fascism are naive. Yeah, see how the rich people get on in Mogadishu since the fall of the government in 1991. How did they get on? How did the rich people in Mogadishu get on? Yeah, they died or they fled. That was it. They're the two options. Hope you don't love your country too much because you're going to have to pack your bags and get the fuck out of there because other people want your money and they'll come and fucking take it. Maybe they are having these discussions in back rooms or whatever, but if they are, you've got to marvel at the fact that Netanyahu, who is Jewish, honestly believes that if fascism takes over the world, he'll be all right. Mate. Jesus Christ. It's like these people are just like goldfish people. You know, they've just been dropped on the planet like Mr. Bean. Boom! Just land and they sort of dust themselves down and go, ooh, where am I? What's going on? Every morning. It's like 51st fucking date to these motherfuckers. Do they not read a history book? Do they not know what the fash do to people like Benjamin Netanyahu? To people like Nigel Farage? To people who are disabled? To people who are trans? To people who are gay? To people who are just, you know, gobby scousers on the fucking streams, whatever you call it. Internet, that's it. Gobby scousers on the internet. They'll come for me. Of course they will. You know, I'm an ally. I've got loads of friends who are trans, who are gay, who are Muslim, who are Jewish. You know, I'm an ally. My whiteness isn't going to, you know, save me. Might have to put on a disguise. I can do that a lot easier than Ali Maraj can. There we go. Listen, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Graham, I've watched a 4-hour documentary about Nazis in America. Terrifying. How could I share it with you and the rest? A necessary eye-opener. Listen, if you go, if you go to grahamdavidhughes.com, go down to the bottom, there's a contact page, contact form there. If you contact me there, you can send me a message and send me the link, and I'll put it on here somewhere. But thank you very much for the super chat. Russia has launched 181 drone and missile strikes overnight. Ukraine can no longer track Russian bombers, meaning more civilians will die, and Russian troops will advance faster thanks to Russia cutting off military. Russia. I said Russia, but I meant America. What a mistake to make. Cutting off military aid to Ukraine. I'm obsessed with Russia this morning. And fuck's sake, and stopping intelligence sharing, leaving Ukraine completely blind to Russian missile attacks. I can't stress how twattish this is. What a twatty move. That sharing of intelligence keeps civilians alive. It keeps children who are living in Ukraine alive. And what's the next step? He's already actively helping Russia win. He has not asked for any concessions whatsoever from the Russians. He's not said, well, you're going to have to give up the whole of the East that you've taken. You're going to have to give up Crimea. No, he's not said anything. He is actively helping the Russians. Do please make sure that anyone you happen to fucking come across, and don't bother talking to bots online, but like in real life, who are like, I think he's doing a great idea. Ask them what we're going to do when 20 million Ukrainian refugees stream into Europe. What are we going to do? I'm going to say, well, we'll have to welcome them with open arms. Of course we will. Because that's our job. That's our duty. We're supposed to welcome refugees. We signed not just the UN Declaration of Human Rights, but the Refugee Charter as well, which says we should take in refugees. Jason J. Gaza casinos will be bad news for area security. I don't think they're going to have casinos in Gaza. That video was just horrific. Benjamin saying Nebula is owned by content creators that are on it, so it's not owned by any rich billionaires. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll look into it. Is it open to British streamers, or is it just an American thing? I don't know. I'm just a bit hesitant to go in to collaborate with that side. Even if they are the good guys, apparently. But I'm fucking done. I'm really, really done. Like, you got to imagine. Like, I've grown up all my life with feeling like, despite America's missteps in the past, many missteps, they've generally tried to do the right thing. I've actively defended America in the past. When people said, oh, they deserve 9/11 happening to them, I would stand up in the street and have a fucking raging argument with them and say, no, the 3,000 people who died on 9/11, they didn't fucking deserve it. Maybe the foreign policy chiefs who went out and invaded Grenada and Panama and interfered in Nicaragua, yeah, maybe they deserve something bad to happen to them, jail perhaps, but murder, death, the death penalty to innocent people, no. I'm not one of these people who subscribe to this idea that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Okay, if you're a freedom fighter, fight for freedom. Gandhi was a fucking freedom fighter. He destroyed the British Empire without firing a fucking shot. That's a freedom fighter. If you kill innocent civilians, you are a terrorist. If you kill people in your gang for being gay, like what Che Guevara did, you're a fucking terrorist. And I've got no time for you. I'm not going to put a fucking poster of you on the fucking wall pretending that I don't know what you fucking did. I do know what you did, Che, and it was fucking shit, mate. Gobshite. And he went to fucking Africa and tried to stir shit up in Congo, in a country that had nothing to do with him. I'm going to go to help the people of Central, help to stabilize Congo. Yeah, well done, mate. Tit. Anyway, I'm not going to get into an argument about Che Guevara right now, but the point is, I don't subscribe to that belief, okay? If you kill civilians, you are a terrorist. You are a terrorist. If you actively go after the people who are causing you misery and, stopping your people from getting freedom, then you're a freedom fighter. There's a difference. There's a very big difference. JD Vance and the GOP, the Genital Obsessed Party, which is our nickname for the Republicans, they're actually parroting Kremlin propaganda. Vance is saying that Ukraine must come to the table, which is code for surrender. Trump is praising Putin's strong signals for peace, for peace, without demanding a single concession from Russia. Nothing, not a single concession to be made. Fuck me. Like, are we watching this in real time? Is this really happening? Yep. Yeah, it's really happening. It's really fucking happening. Veg Pie, £5 super chat, thank you. On the upside, there goes Trump's Nobel Peace Prize. Give it to Zelensky. Yeah. Fucking. I don't think he ever really cared about getting a peace prize. I think he just cares about doing what Daddy Putin tells him to. Strong signals for peace. Yeah, we've got to keep everything. The deal that's on the table at the moment is for Ukrainian surrender. Nothing else. That's it. So Russia keeps all of the territory up to the Dnipro River, which is in the middle of Ukraine. So they take the eastern half of Ukraine, and America's going to take the western half of Ukraine, pretty much. Well, they're going to take the resources. They're not going to put any troops there. They're not going to, spend any money there. They're not going to help reconstruct or anything like that. Of course, they're not selfish cunts. They're just going to just demonetize us. Sorry, I'm a bit upset these days with what's happening. And I'm also a bit upset about the lack of people actually actively standing up and making a fuss about this. But, someone said on social media yesterday, in response to the Democrats' response to Donald Trump's speech in their Parliament building, in their Congress, 2 days ago, they said, imagine you reading a history book and you were trying to find out what the opposition did against Adolf Hitler, and you found out that they went into a speech that Hitler was giving and they wore purple shirts. Yeah, take that, Adolf. We wore purple shirts. That'll stop you. Fucking pathetic. I'll get onto that later because I'm really, really pissed with the Democrats in America. When we say, maybe you should join Nebula or whatever, I mean, I don't even think the opposition in America is doing anything but furthering Putin's aims. I think they're all compromised. I'm sorry. I can't believe that they're allowing this to happen. And they're going, but the rule of law will save us. The Constitution will save us. Oh, we'll get a court order. That'll stop him. They're not playing by the rules. They are not playing by the rules. If I can recommend one war film that was banned uncut in this country until the 1980s, there is a Powell and Pressburger movie called The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, right? Goes on a bit because it's about the relationship between a British army officer and a German army officer from the Boer War to World War II. However, right, this thing where you've got this idea that the Nazis are going to play by the rules of cricket, the laws of cricket. They're not even playing cricket, mate. They're playing a completely different game with machine guns. And we're standing there going, that's how stupid we look. We're standing there with the rule book going, excuse me, sorry, excuse me, and they're fucking killing children in front of us with guns, and we're going, 2 people have died of measles. I think 2 children have died of measles in America. And that RFK Jr. cunt is sitting there. Sorry, country. Stop dropping the C. It's very hard when talking about these motherfuckers not to drop the C-bomb. I'm very sorry for demonetizing the stream. That was my fault. Don't take pity on me. RFK Jr. sitting there in this session going, yeah, well, 2 children are now dead in the Mennonite community. And, measles is something that comes around every year and kills. I can't do his voice for long enough. It hurts too much. Measles comes around every year. No. 20 years ago, we wiped out measles in America. There were no cases of measles, and no one died of measles 20 years ago in America. And then the decision was made by the money men, by the oligarchy, by the big pharma, who that if your child is dying, you will pay anything to protect that child. These motherfuckers who go, oh, no, you can't vaccinate your kids. Fuck you, right? If you think that Big Pharma is a conspiracy, right, to vaccinate our kids against these diseases, right, I've got a question for you, right? My partner, who is deaf, requires very, very high-powered and sensitive hearing aids to hear anything, to hear any frequencies whatsoever. You've got to understand that some people who have deafness have different types of deafness, okay? So if you're getting older, it might just be that all sound is getting quieter and quieter going in your ears. But then there's people who are deaf, like Catherine, where it's certain frequencies. There are some frequencies she can hear fine, right? But otherwise you can't. And because sound is a wave, you can imagine if you can only hear a particular frequency on that wave, what you hear is completely, we can't even imagine. I can't even imagine it. It would be nice to maybe put together a thing where you can show using a different tones what it sounds like if you're deaf, okay? Or what speech sounds like if you're deaf in that way. She needs very, very, very expensive hearing aids. She can't just get the ones from the NHS, which are just headphones, basically. You know, they're speakers that just amplify the sound. That's all they do. See, headphones, that's all they do, right? These ones that she needs take her audiogram and it's programmed to bump up the frequencies that she can hear and even slightly deaden the frequencies that bump up the frequencies that she can't hear and take down the frequencies that she can hear. And they cost £1,500 each. Okay? That is your disability tax right there. And who gets that money? Big fucking Pharma. Now I'll ask you, what makes Big Pharma more money? A measles jab that can be administered for like 50p at the beginning of a child's life? Or someone who's deaf having to get new hearing aids every few years at the cost of thousands and thousands of pounds? What are you going to make more money on, eh? What? Or a child in a coma. One of my friends growing up was in a coma at the age of 4 from measles. Luckily, we have the NHS. But if we're living in a country where, you've got to pay for your medical care, like in America, how much would you pay to save your child's life? We're not just talking about thousands of pounds here on hearing aids. We're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds. What would you pay? I'll pay $1 million. I'll pay everything I had. I would sell my house. I don't own a house. If I had a house, I would sell the house, sell the island, whatever, to save my child's life. Of course you would. Of course you would. And Big Pharma fucking know that. That's why Big Pharma don't mind people going around saying, hey, don't get your kids vaccinated. So when you say, don't get your kids vaccinated, you're actually acting as a shill for Big Pharma. Oh, the irony, eh? Because you're making them more money in the long run because the kids aren't vaccinated. They either die, and funeral costs, or they live, but it costs a lot of money to maintain, a reasonable standard of living. If the kids get polio, they might survive, might not, but then, they've got to have calipers for the rest of their lives. Woohoo! More money for the big pharma companies, for the big medical tech companies. Fantastic. Excellent. For every cochlear implant that you put in, you've fleeced those parents for how much? I mean, it's a miracle of modern science, don't get me wrong. But seriously, if you didn't need it in the first place, then you wouldn't need it in the first place. And RFK Jr. is sitting there going, this happens every year. You hear this from the global climate change deniers who go, oh, it's just a cyclical thing. It always happens. The floods we're seeing in the Canary Islands, it just always happens. It happens every day, doesn't it? When we had those fires a couple of years ago in the UK, fucking wildfires in the UK. That happens all the time, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a cyclical thing. So, what's next? Scenario 1. Trump sends US troops to help Russia. Does that sound insane to you? Have you seen Trump? Have you heard anything he's done so far? Does it sound anything more insane than anything else that he's done? Not to me. JD Vance and Trump are already acting as Putin's mouthpiece, the Kremlin's mouthpieces. That Trump's entire campaign has been about weakening NATO, weakening the West, weakening democracy, and appeasing Putin. Russia has mercenaries in Africa and the Middle East. Would Trump use US troops to prop up Russian interests there? Yes, I think he would. Imagine a peacekeeping force in Russian-occupied Ukraine made up of US and Russian soldiers fighting together, cheek by jowl, against democracy. That's the future that the Trump voters want. That's the future that every motherfucker, every deluded little shitbag who voted for Trump, that's the future they want. They don't like democracy because they think that if they get rid of democracy, they'll have more sex. A bit like a suicide bomber who thinks that if they blow themselves up, they will have more sex. Generally speaking, nearly all of the horrible things that men do since the dawn of fucking time has risen from the idea that if they do X, they'll get more sex. And these little incel motherfuckers, these sad little twats who are sitting there hiding behind the computers going, why won't anyone have it off with me? They honestly believe that if they create the Gilead, the state of Gilead in America, they'll have more sex. And it's just, it's tragic on so many levels. It's so pathetic. They're like the people who think that they're going to get 72 virgins in heaven. And as Ali G rightly pointed out, but all the virgins I know are minging. That is why they is virgins. George, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. I think we belong to ourselves, but we're sold out. Yeah, I mean, I think we're entering a very dangerous phase of a precarious phase in our history. It could go one of many ways. I mean, this isn't I'm obviously always gonna just because of the way I am. I'm always gonna be a little bit disastrous about this. Sorry, other channels are available, etc. But I'm not an accelerationist. I'm not saying this would be good in the long term because actually it will make us realize that fascism is bad. We have to have this every 80 years. We have to have a massive war and loads of people got to die, and then we'll go, ooh, never again, lest we forget, never again, lest we forget, never again, lest we forget, and then we forget, like maybe 20 years later, 30 years, 40 years, I don't know, and then do it again, and then go, oh, never again, lest we forget, never again. Let's all have fucking war Christmas every year, and we all shower ourselves in poppies. Oh, give me all the poppies, give me all the virtue signaling. I still give to the Royal Legion, but I do not wear a poppy anymore because it's been co-opted by the hard right, and I can't get away from that. To me, the poppy rage that you see every year and driving around villages here in Durham, which have got fuck all, but of course they've got a little bench that some not particularly skilled artisan has created to say, we have to remember these people who, I don't remember them. Like, they died before I was born. Like, I just don't. I don't know what I'm meant to do. How can I remember people that I did? I can remember what they did. That's fine. It can say that. Remember what they did. Remember what these people did fighting against tyranny. Yeah, that's okay. I like that. But remember them? I don't remember them. They died before I was born. Jen, thank you very much for the £1 super chat. And also, your first super on the live stream. Yay. And Gunny, thank you very much for the £2 super chat on A Highway to Hell. On the highway to hell. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. All right. Without US support, Ukraine could conceivably collapse within months, right? However, I don't think they will. I think that Ukraine is going to fight to the last man or woman. I think that's what's going to happen. I can't see Ukraine capitulating. What I see right now, reading between the lines, come with me on this, you might disagree, but the reason why Zelensky sent that letter to Trump this week saying, can we be friends again, right? It's because he knows that without the US's military aid and military intelligence, they are put in a situation where more people are going to die. It's as simple as that. It's not a case of Russia will win, but it's a case of more people in Ukraine will die fighting Russia. More civilians will die. More women and children will die as a result of them not knowing where the bombers are going, not knowing where the rockets are going, not knowing where the drones are going because the US aren't showing. So he's prepared to say, yes, of course, Donald Trump will give you all of our minerals and resources once this is all over. And that allows a little bit of breathing room for them to continue to use American equipment and American intelligence. That's the plan until Europe can step up and replicate what America's been doing in the past. Now, that's going to take maybe a year. So he needs to keep America on side for at least a year, right? That's the difficult bit. And I don't know if we've got that choice anymore, you know? Russia is already escalating strikes. Ukraine loses access to targeting intelligence without new military aid. Ukraine's ammo stockpiles will run out. And if Kyiv falls, Putin doesn't stop, he moves west. What's next? Moldova, which we've already discussed. So there's an area of Moldova called Transnistria. And it's to the east of the country, of course, it's to the east. And it's like this little worm of a country that's kind of slapped on the side of Moldova. It's a Russian-speaking enclave, exclave, whatever you want to call it. They have their own flag, which has a hammer and sickle on it. And what Putin wants to do is he wants to push all the way. If you look at a map of Ukraine, I should set this up so I could show you a map of Ukraine. Actually, I could do that, couldn't I? Could I? No, I can't. It'll take too long faffing around. But yeah, the Russians want to push into Kherson, which they've already taken, and then they could retake, and then all the way across the coast with the Black Sea to Odessa, which is the big port city that allows Ukraine to get a lot of its supplies and merchandise and corn and whatever else they grow in and out of the country. Now, along that coast, it's only a few miles. It's not very far to Moldova and to Romania, actually. But Moldova, I think, is where Putin is going to set his sights on next, right? To try and take over Transnistria and even maybe try and take over Moldova if he's already taken over enough of Ukraine for him to be happy. I don't think he'll take over the whole of Ukraine because the people of Ukraine are so embittered against, understandably embittered against Russia, that he needs to contain them in an area where they can cause trouble, but not actually take it over. So there's a Russian soldier on every street corner who is there to be murdered by the Ukrainian resistance, So he has to do that in a certain way. So he'll probably kettle the people of Ukraine into an area in the northwest of the country and say, right, you guys stay there. We're going to take the rest. And the other place he's going to go after is Kaliningrad. So Kaliningrad is an exclave of Russia that borders Poland, and it also borders Lithuania. And at the moment, they're finding it difficult to get in and out of Kaliningrad because obviously the Lithuanians and the Polish are not allowing troops and tanks and weaponry and things like that to come from or to Kaliningrad from Belarus, which is just an extension of Russia, really. It's not, they say it's an independent country, but it's not really an independent country. It's a vassal state of Russia. It's a place where the USSR is still really alive and kicking. It's had the same leader now for over 35 years, Lukashenko. So there's a corridor that Putin will want to have, a secure corridor to get troops and ammunition and things like that, and access to Kaliningrad, which is a warm water port. It doesn't freeze up usually over the winter, as the Black Sea ports can tend to do. So he wants that. He wants that warm water port. So I say Black Sea port. The Black Sea ports don't necessarily freeze up. It's the other ports along, because don't forget that the northern border of Russia is basically the Arctic Circle, and so that's all frozen for most of the year. One of the reasons why they want to drive climate change is to allow Russia to have more ways of getting in and out of their own country, because they feel like they're locked out of being able to take any ships out from the north of the country most of the year because of the ice there. So that's why they very much rely on Sebastopol in Crimea, which is a Russian base, which was threatened with going back to Ukraine, and obviously the Russians couldn't have that, so they were like, no, we're going to invade and kill everyone. And they've got Kaliningrad and Sebastopol are their two big sort of warm water ports. Jason J, thank you very much for the £2 super chat, my friend. That's very kind of you. Trump will sell Putin arms to Putin within a year. Yep. Don't disagree. Mike Higgins, any European country not in the EU is an next potential victim of Russia. I absolutely agree. And NATO. We need to expand NATO. In fact, I'd put Ukraine in NATO. Get rid of America, put Ukraine in, and say, right, that's it. You know, you're fighting against Ukraine now. You're fighting against NATO now. Yeah. So look, next up, you know, you've got Moldova, Baltics, and potentially Poland and Lithuania if he wants to secure that corridor between Belarus and Kaliningrad exclave. This is how wars start. You know, Europe needs to rise to defend itself, and it looks like we're going to do that. Macron is now talking openly about nuclear deterrence. France is floating the idea of extending its nuclear umbrella to all the way across Europe. Germany is pushing for more European military cooperation. And, you know, the question is, can Europe survive without US military support? The answer is yes, but we need a little bit of time and we need a lot of money poured into this. That's two things that we don't really have the luxury of right now because we've been in a recession effectively since 2008, since the financial crunch, the credit crunch, and yeah, it's not a great time to be having to do this kind of shit. But do you know what? 1947 wasn't a particularly good time to start a national health service. We were on our knees. We were just recovering from war. We were, you know, not doing so well. So for the government to spend what little money it had on buying doctors so they would become part of the NHS on the same wages that they were getting previously as a private enterprise, when they were getting a lot of money, doctors are paid rather well. Quite rightly, they do save people's lives, but that's not the point. I mean, you know, that was the decision that was taken in 1947 and we fucking did it. We fucking did it. It happened. That thing happened, which is good. There's a person in the chat who's an incel. Oh, Parker, we're having so much fun. And then you came on here and you just proved to everyone that you've never kissed a girl, apart from your mum, of course, but she doesn't count because she hates you. We all hate you. Everyone hates you. I think you should just fuck off forever. Right, there you go. You're just being hidden off the channel. So bye. Call me a nonce again. I'll fucking kill you. Shite bag. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, scenario 4. Trump uses Ukraine as a bargaining chip for a global power shift. China's watching all this very, very closely. If Trump hands Ukraine to Russia, China will see this as a green light to invade Taiwan. Trump already wants to start a trade war with China. Will he trade Taiwan for a deal? China said it's prepared for any type of war, a trade war, a tariff war, or any type of war. That's what they said yesterday. Yes. And then we've got, you know, this thing of like, can we hold the line? Okay. Can Europe stand on its own 2 feet? And I genuinely believe that we can. As a continent, we can, but we have to work together. Europe must be ready to go it alone, as Macron said, a shiny beacon of democracy in a world kind of seemingly indifferent to democracy. America's had enough of democracy, doesn't want democracy anymore. And you can tell that because there's fuck all protests. And something I moaned about at the beginning of Trump's presidency, and it's still true now, there's fuck all going on in America right now to try and bring down the Trump administration, to try and even frustrate their efforts to do anything. The display of Al Green being taken out of Congress while Trump's making his speech, and no one in the Democratic Party in that room supported him. No one stood up and said, I'm with you, Al. Yes, Trump, you're a fucking monster. No one. That's what we're dealing with. And I'm sorry to be all like doom and gloom. I don't want to be like, oh, fuck, you know, it's all over. It's not. It's absolutely not. But my point remains, and I've been saying this since Trump got re-elected, we can no longer rely on America. America's fucked. America's over. Okay? I know we didn't want it to die, but it's dead. It's dead to us. America is gone. It's not coming back. Like I said on that video that I shot at Niagara Falls 3 months ago, it's like a cartoon character who's run off the edge of the cliff and doesn't realize it's run off the edge of the cliff until it looks down. So Wile E. Coyote looks down, holds up a sign that says, help, and then plummets to the ground. That's the Democrats, isn't it? They're holding up a little sign. Help! Anyway, France is proposing this new nuclear strategy. UK and France are the only nuclear powers in Europe. They should take on the role that the US is abandoning. However, we have problems with technical problems, and you watching this might know more about this than I do. But as far as I'm aware, our Trident nuclear missile, we have these, is it the Polaris submarines? No, that's not right, is it? Well, anyway, the missiles are called Trident missiles. It's Trident defense. The warhead, the nuclear warhead, is maintained and owned, by British people. But the actual rocket itself is American. The maintenance is done by Americans, and they might stop doing the maintenance. Do you know? I just want to say something about this sharing of information. The stopping the sharing of information with Ukraine, right? Just imagine this, right? In the Second World War, IBM, International Business Machines, was a thing back then, right? An American company. They were still servicing the punch card machines that the Nazis used in their bureaucracy, right? Until the bombing of Pearl Harbor. So until the 11th of December, 1941, sorry. I think it was around then anyway. Until that date, was it the 7th of December, 1941, I think. My GCSE history was a long time ago. Until that date, they were not just servicing the punch card machine. So they were sending Americans over to Nazi Germany during the war. They were fighting against us. This is after the Blitzkrieg. This is after the taking of Paris, right? They were still servicing the machines, right? And the Nazis used these machines in the death camps. And IBM was servicing those machines. And yet, the Americans are like, no, I'm not going to give intelligence to Ukraine to defend their citizens against Russian attacks. Doing everything, the playbook, everything, like I said quite a few times now. If Trump was a Russian asset, what would he do differently? Like what? What would he do differently? Nothing. He'll do exactly this because he's a Russian asset. Starmer is standing firm on Ukraine support. Macron is standing firm. Other European leaders are standing firm on this. The UK's military spending is it's already going up. Can it keep pace with the new threat? I think it's going to have to go up a lot more. John Healey is meeting with US officials today. So he's meeting with Hegsketh, this fucking guy off the telly, the Fox and Friends motherfucker, like some TV presenter. It's like having to meet up with Eamon Holmes to talk about our nuclear defense. It's just fucking bonkers. Anyway, he's in charge of the American military now. So, that's a system that they've come up with. They think it's the best in the world. It's not. But John Healey's going over there to meet with Hegsketh. And then, Germany, Poland, clearly, under Donald Tusk, are pushing for stronger EU defence. Will this lead to a European army? I fucking hope so. Unlike Nigel Farage, I want a European army. I'd be quite happy for us to be part of that European army. And I'll tell you this, if push comes to shove, I don't think they want a podgy fucking 46-year-old middle-aged scouser. But if I have to serve my country, I fucking will. If I have to serve my continent, I fucking will. These little mealy-mouthed cowards hiding behind the keyboards going, hey, look at you. No. Mate, I've walked into Afghanistan with nothing but a fucking backpack and my winning Scouse charm. Did I fucking get killed? Did I fuck? I walked into Iraq with nothing but a backpack and my winning Scouse fucking smile. My winning Scouse charm didn't really work in Congo. I spent a week in jail and I didn't get any food while I was in jail. Did I go on a mad mission to murder everyone who wronged me in my life afterwards, as was the plot of some fucking mad Dan Brown book once? No, I didn't. I put my fucking hat back on and I got on with my fucking journey, visiting every country in the world, on a shoestring, on my own, without flying. The only professional, I didn't get any professional sport. It was the only support I got was from my family and friends, who were awesome, by the way. Thank you. You think that I'm scared? You think I'm scared of fucking Russia? 2 words for you. Well, maybe it's 1 word. I don't know. It's kind of got it's got a hyphen in it. Half-life. You have to keep topping up the nuclear material in those nuclear bombs, or those nuclear bombs don't work anymore. Do you think they've been enriching the uranium in those nuclear fucking weapons? Do you think they've been enriching the plutonium, the neptunium, whatever the fuck is in them? Do you think they've been enriching? No. Costs too much. Fuck that. They've just been letting these nuclear weapons just sit in fucking silos and rust. We've got nuclear weapons that work, though. So, you know, that's all good. And although, you know, our 16 or 18 nuclear warheads that we have do require American servicing, which America might stop doing, unlike the punch card machines in the death camps that they continue to service well into the World War II. Well, you know, we'll be all right until they need servicing. Tritium, that's Science Lives Matter. Yeah, that's it. Deuterium. Yeah, that's the one. Fucking Half-Life. Gone. 46, I thought you were 26. Oh, thanks, Jen. Thank you. You're so kind. It's not the years, it's the mileage. Bloody bombs, curse on us all. Yeah, they are. I agree. I wish they didn't exist, but they do. So, fuck. Well, they don't exist for Russia, because if they had them, they probably would have used them by now. Why wouldn't they? Can Europe match the US spending on military aid? Yes. Yes, we can. Absolutely no doubt about it. You get all of the GDPs of the countries of the EU and plus the UK, and it's comparable with the GDP of America. We also have more people, so a mobilized war effort would mean that there are just, you know, more people like me who are willing to actually put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, and help out in any given situation. And then you've got, you know, the fact that we are a lot closer to Ukraine. It's a lot more personal to us. We have people from Ukraine that have come over here. I've brought people from Ukraine over to this country. I've had a Ukrainian family come and stay with us here in Durham. Like I'm actively, I have a little, you know, a part of my heart and soul is with the people of Ukraine in a way that the Americans can't understand. To them, it's just some faraway place, you know, a fictional place. They couldn't tell you where it was on a map. It's a bit like Iraq or Afghanistan. They don't know what the fuck it is. They don't care. It's somewhere far away where we're doing the thing to stop the bad people. Only they think that the Ukrainians are the bad people in this for upsetting the Russians so much that the Russians just had to invade them. Which is the bully. This is the bully pulpit, isn't it? It's the bully mentality, that narcissistic. It didn't happen. Well, if it did, it was your fault. I'm so happy that my country France does not depend on another country for nuclear deterrence and satellites, says Sabine. Yeah, absolutely. Tritium is the real thing that degrades, needing maintenance for the nuclear chemistry. Thank you, Science Lives Matter. That's it. Tritium. I'm probably saying that completely wrongly, but tritium, that degrades over time because of half-life. Half-life is, you know, the time it takes for half of the nuclear material to break down into other isotopes, usually more stable isotopes. Not always more stable, but, you know, generally more stable. Boosted fission primaries, and then the secondary, which is lithium-based. There we go. I suggest those are publicly acknowledged arsenal. I would suggest that we still have many people employed in generating material. There are probably a lot we don't know about. And then Leanne says, the EU countries have been preparing for a good while. I know Estonia and Lithuania, and I forgot. Sorry, anyway, have the reserves training very hard. Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia, I guess. Talking about the Baltic states. So yes, this is you know, the key takeaways today. I mean, I've got to wrap up soon, but I was a bit late getting started. So Trump is actively helping Russia. This is open treason. 4 people are dead today that didn't need to be dead. that have been killed as a direct result of Trump's actions. Trump is actively helping Russia. Ukraine is now blind to Russian attacks because of Trump. US troops could end up working with Russian forces in the future. I could see that happening. I hope they're brushing up on their Russian. Europe is stepping up. Hopefully it's going to be enough, but we are watching history unfold. It's fucking terrifying. Sorry to be freaking out about this, but I'm freaking out about this because, I don't know, got a degree in history and politics. I've been to every fucking country in the fucking world. If I'm freaking out about it, maybe the people in power who can actually do something about this, maybe the fucking Democrats in America could do something about it. Maybe they could, other than turn up for the pink pony fucking club and go, oh, well, I'm wearing pink. Fucking hell. We've got a sign. It says help. Got a funny sign. Funny signs ain't going to cut it. Didn't stop us Brexiting. My funny signs. I made loads of fucking funny signs. Didn't help, did it? Didn't stop Brexit. It's not going to stop Putin. You know what's going to stop Putin? Fucking showing your teeth. Showing strength. Because they've got fuck all. They've got fuck all. Their army couldn't take Ukraine. Their navy has been has been decimated. Beyond decimated. Half their fucking ships, half their Black Sea fleet is gone. It's been destroyed by a country, and I can't stress this enough, that doesn't have a fucking navy. They're a paper tiger. As EU supports Ukraine, how will Trump support Putin? Asks George. Thank you very much for the £2. Well, he's already supporting them. He's already blatantly supporting them by that disgusting display against Zelensky last week in the Oval Office. He's already helping them by cutting off military aid to Ukraine, military aid that's already been voted on by the American Parliament to say, yeah, this stuff needs to go into Ukraine, and he's stopped that, and he stopped military intelligence sharing. He's doing everything that Putin wants. Putin is, popping the champagne, having miserable sex with a miserable prostitute and drinking champagne off her body. I don't know what Russians do at their time, but, Tritium is A7. Ishtar says, and I mean US military power, even if an arms race starts and they also start mobilizing for total war. Leanne Scott, well, hopefully we have some smart strategies. Ukraine may advise they have worked miracles. They have. And the thing is, Ukraine has shown time and time again when it's back against its war, when its back is against the wall, that's when it's at its most ingenious. And they are getting supplies from us, from Europe. They've just got a load of drones last month from Germany. And the gloves are off now. The gloves are off. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know where Ukraine stands on all this, but if I had the opportunity, if I was in charge, right now, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just say, look, NATO's not working, right? By America, right? And then the NATO will become the coalition of the willing, right? The coalition, the coalition of democracies, the coalition of free-thinking people. And I would say, right, we're getting a new deal, which is going to involve Japan. It's going to involve Taiwan. It's going to involve Australia. And it's going to involve Ukraine and Moldova, who also want to join NATO. Let them in. And then suddenly it becomes a war that Russia's fighting against NATO. Fine. We go in. We send troops in. We send bombers in. Send, Lancaster bombers or whatever you have these days. We send them in. I'm joking. I know we don't use Lancaster bombers anymore. We use Wellington bombers. And we send them in. Bomb the fuck out of those front lines where all the soldiers are. Fuck them. They're not going to take any civilians out. It's only soldiers down there. Let's take them out one night. Do it. Don't announce it. Don't tell anyone. Don't say this is what we're going to do. Don't threaten Russia and say, hey, you better get out there or we're going to do this. Don't give them time to prepare. Just fucking do it. Do it now. Do it today. Do it tonight. And then when they say, oh, what have you done? You say, well, we're having a special military operation. Or just deny it. Say it was little green men. It was little green men. I don't know who did it. I assume that since America's not, trading military secrets with military intelligence with Ukraine anymore. We're safe to just stop sharing our military intelligence with America, which is something that we should have stopped doing as soon as Trump was re-elected, because we can't trust them. Trump is a man who stole military secrets, put them in a toilet in his Mar-a-Lago and sold them to the highest bidder. The man's a traitor on every fucking level. The man's a rapist, a traitor, a dog, a murderer, a cretin, a fucking sewer rat. He is the worst man who's ever fucking existed. And yet the members of his cult think he's the fucking best. It's very frustrating. It's like people finding a comedy really funny when it's really not. Anyway, adios, Scott. See you later. See you later, mate. Hey, cows are badass. Science Lives Matter. We could do great Laurel and Hardy double act. Wanting, willing, and waiting. Speak more truth to power can be facilitated by good louder voices for self-mutes. Indeed. I love how Graham's chat thinks about every line and pauses if it thinks it shouldn't show a message. You can always see it thinking. Is this a troll? My comment only makes sense if you read the previous one as well, lol. It says Ishtar. Sorry, Ishtar. Didn't read your previous message. He's a traitor. Logan act anyone. No, forget about the law. Forget about the law. Forget about the Supreme Court. Forget about the judiciary, the legislature, the Constitution in America are fucking moot now. It is a dictatorship under Trump. Just pumping out proclamation after proclamation. I mean, the American people are really going to suffer, but they voted him in. Stupid fucking bastards. They voted him in. You know, I mean, if we're going to say those same bastards, right, who voted for Trump, they'll look at Gaza and they'll look at the devastation and go, well, they deserve that. Why? Because they voted Hamas in. Yeah, in the one free and fair election that they had 20 years ago, they voted in Hamas by a wafer thin margin, and people were intimidated into doing that. It wasn't a free and fair election like it should have been, but Hamas got in. And so what? The children who wouldn't be born for another 20 years so still have to suffer as a result of that democratic decision. Okay, fine, right? Live by the sword, die by the sword. You're gonna have to, take accountability for the fact that you allowed Trump to get back into office. You allowed him to get back into power. And I think that when the Nuremberg trials begin again, wherever they're held in America, once this is all over, it's not just going to be the Republicans who should be in the dock facing the death penalty. I think that there should be some Democrats in there as well for not defending democracy. They're called the fucking Democrats. They're called the Democrats. Why didn't you fight back? Why did you do nothing? What did you do? What did you do? Oh, I wore a flower. What? I went to a talk, right, that this guy was given, that Hitler was given, and I wore a white rose. That really showed him. Okay. I'm not sure it did show them. I just had this feeling that it didn't really show them. Maybe it'd be nicer these days. Maybe it'd be a truth and reconciliation type affair where you just sort of say, yeah, I did these horrible things during apartheid. But it's okay. My children are going to go to America and fuck shit up for people over there, in the future. Liz Allen says too many districts here are gerrymandered that otherwise Democratic districts are Republican too. Yep, but that's at the Democrats going for gerrymandering as well. They could have pushed for stopping that altogether. I mean, let's face it. Biden was given the golden ticket by the Supreme Court last year. Could have just said, right, fuck it, I'm arresting Trump for treason. He would have been well within his rights to do that. And we're going to hold him in Guantanamo Bay. Or what I would prefer is take him to Arizona, make him dig a hole, make him jump in the hole, and fucking leave him there. But he didn't. He didn't arrest Trump and hold him as a terrorist. Declare that he's a terrorist. No one could have stopped Biden from doing that. You've got to understand that the Supreme Court said anything Biden does as an official act is legal. So arresting Trump and putting him in a hole would be legal. And the thing is, people go, oh, you get rid of him, you get J.D. Vance, and he's worse. No, he's not worse. He's not worse. There's no one worse than Trump, okay? Because Trump manages to bring together all the disparate fucking forms of the right wing in America. These people that, you've got the religious right who don't want anyone to have sex, and then you've got the libertarians who want everyone to have sex. And those people are working together right now. Like, they're usually completely at opposites. The libertarians want people to have abortions, or don't want to be. They want people to be allowed to have abortions, Whereas the Christo-fascists, they don't want people to have abortions. They made a big thing about it. Yet they're working together because of their love for Trump. You take Trump away, and you're going to have division all over the Republican side of things. Division. Like, people hate J.D. Vance. He was unpopular. He was like historically unpopular before he was even fucking elected. People voted for Trump. They didn't vote for J.D. Vance. And the Republicans won't stand for him pulling the same sort of shit as Trump is pulling. Trump needs to go. He needs to go in order for the rest of us to live. You know, he's like fucking Voldemort and Harry Potter. We can't live while the other one is still alive. It's as simple as that. You know what I'm saying? He's got to go. Talking to people who have got to go, I've got to go because it's 10:10. I've been rabbiting on here. Maybe I should go to the papers for a moment. Calls mount for the French to turn channel boats around after migrants escorted to the rescue ship from their waters. Blah, 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 blah. Fulfill the promise. Whatever. Fuck off, Daily Express. Don't give a shit. Obviously the front cover is not the fact that America has withdrawn military intelligence from Ukraine. That should be what's on the cover, but it's not. More people will die after US cuts, says Ukraine MP. Absolutely. There's a picture of Kate Moss. For some reason, she's done something. What's she done? She's at Paris Fashion Week, where she supported Stella McCartney from the front row. Oh, that's nice. Where's front page news? Minority and trans criminals could avoid jail under new rules. Fuck off, Murdoch. Majority of doctors are women for the first time. Good. COVID crisis, 5 years on. Wills in tribute to NHS heroes as he honours their sacrifice. Thank you. Their sacrifice while they were working. Boris Johnson was partying. Don't forget that. Boris Johnson and the entire Conservative cabinet were partying. Don't forget Rishi Sunak was given a fine for partying during lockdown when we weren't allowed to, visit our dying relatives in hospital. Benefits cuts set to be bigger than Reeves promised as Treasury rules out new tax hikes. It's a bit of a shame. Tax the rich, tax them till the pips squeak. I say. Spain and France have put a tax on the super wealthy. I think we need to do the same. Alas, Vine and Hitchings. That's not my idea of hell. In Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, they have their individual hells, and like Ted is being shouted at by his military dad or something. That would be my hell, being stuck in a room with Sarah fucking Vine and Peter fucking Hitchings, private school mafia gobshites going, well, think about it this way, I deserve all the money because Daddy was rich. Fuck off. That new two-tier justice fiasco. What? Is this a two-tier justice where if you're black, you're more likely to go to jail? Oh. You're more likely to get stopped by the police if you're black. Is that the two-tier justice you're talking about? No, it's not. Oh, okay. Whatever, Daily Mail. Go fuck yourself. US stops sharing intelligence with Kyiv to pile pressure on Zelensky. Absolute fucking scum. Talking of scum, the London student may have raped 100 women. We know this because he fucking filmed it. We filmed it. We don't know who the women were. They're asking women to come forward. It's just fucking horrible. At least he's been caught. Most rapists get away with it. There's one. There's a rapist who got away with it on the front cover of The Independent there. Donald Trump addressing his fucking dickheads in Parliament. In Congress. Sorry. I need to stop calling it Parliament. It's not Parliament, is it? Now Trump cuts off intelligence support for Zelensky's forces. Of course he does, because he's a gobshite. I make a habit of reading the right-wing papers just to see what the chuckle fucks are talking about. It burns my eyes. Well, I make a point of it because I love when people go, "Are you stuck in a bubble?" You're stuck in a bubble, Graham. Look, you're stuck in your fucking left-wing, liberal, fucking trans-loving bubble. And I'm like, yeah, such a bubble. I haven't got a clue what people on the other side are saying. I haven't got a fucking clue. It's not like it's on the front cover of any of the newspapers or nothing every fucking day. And then we have someone in a dressing gown. Bathrobe. There's a woman in a bathrobe. That's exciting, isn't it? Can someone explain? I must be getting old. Do you know what I mean? Maybe if I was like 20 years younger, I'd be like, oh, bathrobe. That's cool. Can't wait to buy a bathrobe for my girlfriend. She'll love that. She'll love that bathrobe. It's really, really chunky. Keep you warm in winter. Only wouldn't keep your legs warm. But whatever. Trump turns off Ukraine missiles. Zelensky forced into urgent Washington talks after intelligence is abruptly pulled. Just fucking scumbags. When you go to the doctor, you're more likely to be seen by a woman. Good. Orange ball of fire spotted in the sky. This is a warning from the Data, who are obsessed with the weather. But Berlin defense funding shift triggers huge bets on growth. Yield surge in expectation of boost. Historic reform plan for debt limit. So the debt limit for the EU nations is going to be lifted in order for EU nations to invest in defense, because America is not coming to our defense. We need to live in the new reality. We need to put down the copium pipe, and we need to start building a stronger, better future where these horrible little right-wing incel troglodyte motherfuckers don't get to tell us how we, in our democracy that people, millions of people over the years have fought for and died for, suffered for, that we've got to make sure that we tell all these mealy-mouthed motherfuckers, these Trump voters, these Brexit voters, these reform voters, to fuck the fuck off, okay? Because it's getting fucking serious now. This isn't about what bathroom we should use, or what pronouns we should use, or whatever like that. That was never the important thing to these people. The important thing to these people was to crush and destroy and demonize the human spirit. That's what they want to do. They want to destroy democracy, and they want their little fucking nepo baby sugar daddy to be in charge of everything, and he can be their daddy because daddy didn't hug them enough, or whatever the fucking thing, that the traumatic incident that happened in their childhood that fucked them up so much that they decided to declare war on the rest of the world because they might be having a better time than them. The people who go to a party and instead of just having a nice time at the party, burn the fucking house down with everyone in it because they weren't having a good time, so no one can have a good time. And we've got to call them out. We've got to call them out left, right, and fucking centre. Because they're all fucking over the place. Divide and conquer, says Jane Lockwood. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Danny says it's about power, nothing else. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, I can't fight on the front line, but I can pilot a drone or two, says Duke Vengeance. Well, exactly. There's an important point to be made there by Duke Vengeance. We can all be, most of us can be trained as drone operators. Doesn't matter how old we are. It's a new way. It's the new way of thinking. If you want to know what the crazies, MAGAs, QAnons, etc., thinking there's always 4chan's, Paul, absolute cesspool, that place. Or as I like to call it, Twitter these days. Anyway, right, so I'm going to head off now. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. Not an easy chat to have, but a necessary one, I feel. I'm going to be talking about Cuba tonight. Let me get out my old Cuba Lonely Planet. This is from the year 2000, so it's probably a little bit out of date. What's in here? There's some cutouts from an Australian newspaper. Australian newspaper, classified ads looking for jobs. Anyway, so here's our Cuba Lonely Planet. So I'll be delving into the rich history of Cuba, and talking about the geography and the people, and I might be able to share some of my, I was going to say, I might be able to share some of my footage with you. But unfortunately, my footage of when I was in Cuba, the only copy that seems to exist, was in Lonely Planet's HQ in Melbourne. But then an American vulture capitalist company took it over a few years ago. And now they disbanded it, told everyone to work from home. They sold the building, and now my tapes from when I was in Cuba on my historic world record-setting journey, probably in landfill. Probably in landfill now. So, yeah. Thanks for that. American vulture capitalists. Anyway, thanks for all your hard work, Graham. Oh, thank you, Leanne. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me, even though I can be a little bit doom and gloom. But I think in the end, it'll work out. It always does. In the end. But Just haven't lived through the bit where it's not working out. That's difficult. So look, you take care of yourself. Have a great day. I'll be back at 6 o'clock with Hughes of the World talking about Cuba. And until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.